do 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 do
Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Fun Bunker Film School. I am the co-host, Zach, and it is a pleasure to be here with my host and the teacher, Chris. How the heck are you doing?
Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm doing well.
Yo, what's up, everybody? I love that. We do have a student with us, which we're very excited about, because last time we kind of had, some sick call-outs. So who is our student? Who are you, young fella?
Hey, I'm Kolb.
Hey, it's Kolb. We love Kolb. Hey,
We
Kolb.
do love Kolb.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
I appreciate
going?
it. I love me too. I'm doing good.
That's good. Self-care is important.
Yes. I like a confident person to be partaking. Well, if you're new to the Fun Bunker Film School, we are a group of friends that like to fill in each other's watch lists. We like to at least have on some of our good fellow compatriots who have not seen some films and talk about them. So tonight, as you have heard if you listened to last week, is La La Land. So Chris, why did you pick La La Land?
I picked La La Land because as part of this project, we had I wanted to cover a bunch of different genres or
Correct.
themes, movies from all across film history, like as far back as we've done a couple movies now in the 50s to movies that were made in the 2020s.
Was The Holdovers the newest one we've done?
I think so. I was trying to think about that the other day, but I think it is the newest.
23, maybe?
2023, yeah. And so this one is on the newer side, but the reason I chose it is that I wanted to cover romance, which is a genre that I think I struggle a little bit more with. But they do have examples of romantic films that I really enjoy. And this is one that immediately springs to mind as one of my favorite romance movies that's out there. It was done in 2016, so it's recent. It had a bunch of Oscar buzz. It's it's a fan favorite, I'd say. Like the people that like this movie really like this movie, and I am one of them.
Yep. I mean, it's almost 9 years old, so it is more recent, but almost a decade is still pretty old.
It is.
I was kind of shocked when I rewatched it and I realized it was 2016 because I was like, oh dang, I've been married for like 1 year, 2 years out of college. Like that feels like forever ago. Well, I do have to let you in on a little secret. It's a pretty open secret on me and Kolb's other podcast that Kolb is a sucker for a good romance plot line. So I was excited that he signed up for this one because he loves love. He loves love. Kolb loves love. So I was excited that Kolb signed up for this one because we bring that up quite a bit on Three Dads Talking About Anime. So it was good.
That's funny. I don't think I knew that exact tidbit. That's great.
That tidbit, yeah. So Kolb, this was your first time watching it though, correct?
That is correct. I think you're, getting my personality just a little wrong, Chest. I'm not.
Nope.
I don't like just romance stories. I like my stories with some romance in them.
That isn't correct.
So there's a difference.
It's true. You appreciate a good love story within a show that you enjoy.
Yes.
Is that fair? Is that a good? There you go. Okay. Which is basically all the shows you watch. So, yeah.
Right. And then when it doesn't have it, I'm pretty angry.
Yeah. There you go. Just kidding, folks. Just kidding. But no, it's good. So I have a question though, Kolb. Do you also enjoy musicals? Because this is also a musical.
There are some musicals that I really do enjoy. But overall, I wouldn't say, yes, that's my number one. But I wouldn't say that I'm a musical fan. Okay. So I don't have to see the latest musical.
So you don't hate them, but you don't seek them out.
Correct. So some of the biggest ones that were back in my high school days was like Rent and Wicked,
Mm,
and I hated both of those.
Sure.
And they're both like the most, famous
Yep.
musicals that everybody talks about. At least they did back then, and I didn't like them at all. So just because it's a musical doesn't mean I'm going to like it. It has to be a good musical for me.
Yeah.
I think I'm in the same boat. I don't seek out musicals, but if someone were to want to watch one, I wouldn't be like, "Oh, gross."
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I would.
Now,
I think I would also agree. I'm in the same boat.
I have one of my all-time favorite memories, though. Chris, you were part of this. Was when COVID hit, and this is all like pre, the streamlining of streaming, and so we all decided to watch Cats at the same time, and we just pushed play on. It was like, it felt so old school because we're like 1, 2, 3, go, and we all hit play, and then we were just chatting in Discord, just like as the movie went on.
It was great.
That was a blast. Unironically, the best experience of Cats that you could have.
Yeah,
Sure.
Watching that movie with other people is a real joy. Like, I would love to do like a subgenre episode sometime of movies that are so bad, that when you watch them like collectively with others, it becomes like an incredibly joyous experience. Like,
that's a thing.
That is a thing. Like, there's movies that are just miserably bad, but then there are movies that are bad in some ways that are so baffling that you're, the people you're watching it with, I can't believe this is happening. This is so funny.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like Cats. Cats is horrible.
Cats is a prime example of that. Like,
but that experience lives in my memory so well. Anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's good. So we all can appreciate a good musical. And we all showed up for the romance genre. I will also say romance is not one that I'll seek out. Like, for example, my wife's cousin was visiting with us for a couple months. They watched a gajillion Nicholas Sparks movies. I did not partake in watching any of those films. It's not a genre that I'm like, yep. I watched something else. I don't even know what I watched. Many other things, because they watched a lot of them. But if it's a good story, I'm not going to say no to a romantic movie. I'm just also not going to seek that genre out.
Yeah, and that can happen with just about any genre of film, right? Like, you have the genres that you like, and you'll watch the junk food version of like at any time. Like, and I would
like
say
a sci-fi, fantasy.
Yeah.
But even so, that just happened with us with The Thing. That's me getting into horror. But on the flip side, I found out maybe I like horror more than I thought because I watched that. But up until that point, one. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, good. So we've all established our baselines as far as how we came into the movie way back when, or more recently, as for Kolb's sake. I also did a rewatch in preparation for this because which was really fun because I hadn't seen it since 2016, which, a decade of, I remembered like the beginning and the end, and then everything else was fuzzy. So this was good to do a rewatch. Now, I did have 101 degree fever, so we do have to take that into account. All my hot takes are extremely hot because they were lucid dreams. Basically.
Yeah.
But
what a great movie to watch and like not be able to
when they started floating in the clouds,
dream.
I thought I was floating in the clouds, and it was a good old time. Yep. It was good. No, it was really good. Chris, take us through, you picked this movie for some of the reasons you've already said, but what on the practical side, who's the director, what's he known for, blah 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 blah.
Yes. So this is a film that is written and directed by Damien Chazelle. He was at the time.
Is it unique script?
Yeah, it's original, but it is heavily based off of a couple other. Like he heavily takes inspiration, I think, from in all his movies from other ideas and concepts. His first movie, he made a big splash in the film scene with Whiplash. Which is a movie starring Miles Teller and J.K. Simmons, who won an Oscar for his role in that movie. That was about a young man who goes to Juilliard School of Arts and has a very, very harsh teacher professor, and it's about him pursuing greatness. Is kind of like the theme of that movie. Is like, what do you do, or what does it take for you to reach the top? What does it take for you to truly be great, and can you withstand like basically, I mean, verbal and sometimes physical abuse in order to get there? And so he went and did this movie La La Land, and it was very different, like Whiplash. It's different and similar. I really like Damien Chazelle's films. I'm trying to think about how to talk about his work like in an almost all-encompassing way, but Whiplash is like it's a very R-rated script. Like the things that J.K. Simmons says to his like students is terrible. Like it's like shocking. Like his performance is really good in it, but it is like a very like verbally violent movie, I'd say.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've seen clips. I haven't seen it yet, which I know I need to watch it. Would you use the word like frenetic?
Yeah, it's frenetic. It is like it's pre, like The Bear and Uncut Gems, but it feels like it can create anxiety within you, like watching. You feel with these students that are having chairs thrown at them and like having their beings insulted, like and it's those scenes that are in those classrooms are very like darkly lit. It's and really up and in there, whereas then he goes and makes La La Land, and when it comes out and buzz starts to come about it, it's very colorful, it is very bright, it is a musical.
Well, I was just thinking of the exact opening scene for someone that their last experience of him would have been Whiplash, and they went in like, what am I about to see? And it's like show
Another Day of
tunes,
Sun,
Broadway, Another Day of Sun on the highway. And it's that I've never seen Whiplash, but that would be such an interesting, like, what am I about to watch theater moment.
Would it be a whiplash?
It would be.
Thank you. Good night.
You get whiplash from going into La La Land, Los Angeles land.
Los Angeles land. No, it's good. I love that. So it's a good preamble for maybe some context for what the original viewers would have been. I like that. I like knowing what the original viewer might have been thinking going into this. There's oodles of people, probably this was their first film. They didn't see his Whiplash movie. Maybe their friend did and they wanted to go see it, or maybe they just heard good things.
Yeah,
but
it was a little smaller of a film, but it had the Oscar buzz. It had cool guy buzz. Like it was, one that ended up on top 10 lists of that year, which was 2014. And so his next film was anticipated, especially because it had two big stars in Emma Stone and Ryan Gosling, and it seemed like a mid-budget, or at least a bigger, he was getting a bigger budget to do something a little bit larger. And it was a successful film, like at the box office and kind of culturally, and we can carve out a whole section for the Oscars part of the conversation later. But yeah.
So I want to hear from Kolb a little bit. Don't groan. This is why you're on this.
I know.
What was some big, like, what was it like watching this movie? Because I knew what to expect going into a rewatch, even if I didn't remember the details. But this was brand spanking new for you. So, like, yeah, what was it like watching La La Land?
Oh, for most of the movie, I was curious, and I was going to call Chris up and be like, hey, why did you choose me for this movie? And apparently, I guess it's the romance part. I don't know. I didn't know what this movie was trying to say. Was this supposed to be just like, hey, this is a nostalgia trip for a modern audience? Like, this is Tinseltown, baby. Let's show the glamour of Hollywood, and or was it more of the romance between the characters? And I don't know. I was debating through the whole movie, like, do I like this or don't I? And for most of it, I would have to say I wasn't there. I was very apathetic throughout most of the movie.
Okay, that's fair.
Okay.
But then, did your mind change by the end?
Okay, so the movie's 2 hours and 8 minutes long, 8 minutes for credits ish. By that last 7 to 8 minutes, yes, my mind changed.
So the
180
jazz
degrees.
club scene, your mind
The
changed.
ending.
Yes.
So what changed?
Oh, do I have to get to the whole thing? I thought that would be
wait.
The end of it.
I was going to say, let's save some ending conversation for later.
Okay, fine. Okay, so that's fair. That's fair. So you're watching this story unfold. That's a simple story. It really is a simple story. Aspiring actress. She's working on the Warner Brothers lot. Meets down and out jazz musician who's way too strict with his convictions. His convictions. He won't compromise his musical integrity. And they have a meet cute moment where, you know, he's playing the piano and she's like, oh my goodness, you're going to play. And then he blows her off. And then they meet again at the party and she gets back at him and, oh, this is good. They're going back and forth. This is great. And then, they get together. That's essentially the like flow of their relationship. They have this cute thing. She leaves her kind of dead in the water relationship, chases after this guy who has aspirations and goals and creativity. And they hit some bumps in the road as things go on. And as life keeps taking them by surprise because of, ironically, success. Success starts to cause their relationship to get on the rocks. Success for both of them, it turns out, is what happens. But that's kind of the really not even flyby. It's like fly over like arc of this movie is just essentially about two people meeting. Now, I will say this: two things that I loved about this movie. Not this one isn't funny. I love when actors play actors in movies. So like Emma Stone is playing this actress that can't get a role, and I love seeing that because she's acting in a movie that she's acting in, and so she like is not getting these parts, and some of them, you know, she's just kind of giving like these like action movie lines, and like she's acting within an acting scene, and I just love those moments because it feels very fun to watch that. And then the other thing that I just genuinely loved and I laughed every time is how often Ryan Gosling startles and how violently he's like startles in the movie, like so many times he just like freaks out, and that just made me laugh. That was it. Simple little thing.
Yeah, he's great.
Anyway.
I mean, they're both really good in this movie, but I think there's a lot of things that we can go into with kind of what you laid out. I think that at its core, this movie is about like ambition versus like relationship. They are both ambitious people, and that's what draws them to each other. And a lot of the movie is done in this fantasized version of LA. The musical numbers don't try and set themselves in reality, right? It's like traffic stops and people are dancing on cars. The colors are all extremely, extremely vibrant primary colors for most of like the first half of the film, until they start to get in their relationship, and then the colors start to begin to get a little more muted and a little more strained as their relationship gets more strained, as they have to deal with the reality of having to make money and sometimes at the cost of their artistic ambitions. But I think it's also a movie that recognizes kind of like the farcical elements of their ambition too, right? You got a movie that from a guy that is obsessed with LA and obsessed with Hollywood, and Mia is too. She talks about watching old, Turner classics with her aunt, and loves working at the coffee shop that's on the studio lot, which is itself kind of like a fantasy city, like much like his version of LA is. I love this movie, but there's this like nostalgia for this old Hollywood, but also like a recognition, like when she's going out for all of the parts and she's having to give these ridiculous line readings for different roles. And even like stuff like, she's going at the beginning, like her and her other actress roommates go to a party and they're forced to just like mingle with all of these other like writers in LA. And there's one guy that's uh, like, have you heard of Joseph Campbell? And like talking about like the hero's journey. And he says like, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, we're going to do it from the perspective of the bears. It's got franchise potential. Like the movie also has like a disdain for like how Hollywood also works. Like there's like just a little bit of cynicism there. And like similarly, that comes in the jazz element as well with Ryan Gosling's obsession with jazz. He wants to play to tradition. He wants to be like the greats, but like John Legend's character who comes in later and offers him like an actual job with success that's not quite maybe what he would want to do, says, he talks about like, how can you be a revolutionary when you're such a traditionalist? Like you're living in the past, but jazz is about the future. Like how you can't, like, you have to hold these things in tension. And there's kind of like that thing in the movie is there has to be tension. Like you have to be able to hold the two. And if you give too much into the way of the ambition, the relationship doesn't work. And if you go too much into the relationship, you have to let go of some of that ambition. And the heartbreak that comes with some of this.
You mentioned the visual storytelling going on. Talk about that a little bit, because I love when we talked about that in the Westerns and how they use shots. And you just mentioned that the color palette and the use of colors. And I think that's something that I've really come to love about seeing film like this.
Oh, yeah. So one of the things... So like I said, there's so many like primary colors in the film, like particularly in the like clothing, but as well as just like how the film was shot. It's shot in VistaVision, which I meant to look up what other like famous films we've actually even covered that were shot in VistaVision, which is a very wide format. I know The Searchers is one, but it's a film format that can be made very large, very vibrant. It's very old Hollywood, but it's very much like The Great Gatsby. Like I remember The Great Gatsby being a book that I did not like reading like in high school, but it did introduce the idea of like color theory and how different colors can evoke different emotion. And so in scenes where there is lots of tension, it's often shaded in red, and when things are on the rocks, it's very red. But then you have very cool blues, you have very bright yellows when there's like optimism, like when after Seb gets fired from his job at the bar, and the next place Mia sees him is at the like pool party. She's wearing like the brightest yellow dress you've ever seen. Like there's like a hope for the relationship there. But then like as it goes on, their colors, like when it gets to summer, we can also talk about that, like the seasons that the movie like represents, like the seasons of a relationship. But when it gets to summer, like their clothing and some of the color palette of the movie starts to like wash out a little bit, not to the point where it's like black and white, but it starts to like dim a little bit and that kind of thing. To the point where actually I think the breakup scene where Seb is back from a big trip and tries to surprise Mia with like dinner, but then they end up getting in an argument. The scene is done so well where he's listening to a jazz record that's actually like something that Justin Hurwitz, the composer, actually wrote, and it gets more frantic in the background, and then like the record starts to skip, and like the scene like before it like goes before like the fire alarm starts to go off, like the camera starts to shake a little bit, and it's just like very clear, like this relationship is rocky. This relationship is not going anywhere, and the colors are not nearly as vibrant as they once were. And that kind of like holds throughout the rest of the film. Once Mia gets the role, and then you cut to the ending that goes 5 years into the future, the colors are still muted until you get to the final fantasy sequence where the colors all come back in full bloom. So yeah, that's all that Great Gatsby color theory. I still remember reading The Great Gatsby in high school. And then like, it was funny because I think the teacher probably liked it because we did talk about it outside of class. But I remember a couple of my friends were like so mad at The Great Gatsby book. We were just idiot high schoolers, but one of them was just like, whatever, sure, all the colors represent different emotions, but guess what? The pages are in black and white. It's stuck with me forever.
Classic high schoolers.
Yeah.
No, I love that. That's good. So this movie is about kind of two things going at once. Like what Kolb was saying. What is this movie about? And I think on the surface, when you watch it the first time, or at least through most of the movie, you're focused on the love story. Because, the ambitions are there, but you're focused on the characters. The actors are great. The characters are likable. There's even a little bit of relatability. If you've had any inkling of ever having a dream, it's tough. It's just tough. It's tough having a dream. And actually, as someone that is currently working in more of a freelance lifestyle than just a steady 9-to-5 job, there is a huge element of doing something that you love, which for me is writing, getting paid to do it, and the things that you choose to take and say yes to are not usually your passion projects and are not the things that you pour your energy and is like flowing off the pages. It's like, oh, I have to write this article. When's the deadline? Oh, I got like 4 more days. Okay, I'm going to do that on Tuesday. But you're not like staying up till 2 a.m. like, oh my goodness, I got to finish this chapter of whatever, blah, 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 blah. And so I could relate a lot to these characters having to go through and do different things. But actually the thing that I related to the most was that scene that you were talking about, Chris, where they were having the fight. And he had come home and he had surprised her, and he says, I thought this is what you wanted me to do. And that line of like how relationships work and assumptions and what happens when you just assume things and you start making decisions that you did in good conscience. Like he overheard, Mia's mom talking on the phone. And so he's like, I really love Mia. So what I got to do is get a stage gig. So I'm going to compromise my values. But then when it got rocky, that's something he threw in her face. It wasn't, he's like, I didn't even want to do this. I did this because you needed me to you wanted me to have a stage job. And she's like, I never asked you to do this. Like, and so this fight happens and I was like, that is the most real thing ever. When you just assume what your partner wants.
Yeah. And yeah, the miscommunication, the lack of understanding of what the other one wants. Yeah. It's a very it's like the most raw or like real feeling like scene in the movie for sure. Speaking of the characters themselves, like, did you find okay, so Kolb, when you're watching this for the first time, did you find yourself enjoying the relationship, or were there aspects of the character that you liked or didn't like? Did you find yourself rooting for them, or maybe even rooting against them as it started to get towards the ending of the film?
Yeah. So I don't know if it's just because of the way the technical aspects of this movie and that the whole Hollywood old movie scene, I felt like their relationship was forced, but in the way that like an old movie's relationship character, like those characters would be a forced thing. Like this is a romantic movie, so those two are going to get together. So let's just get them together. It doesn't matter if it's natural or not. That James Stewart and this other lady are going to get together. So it kind of felt like that. So I kind of let it go. But as far as the characters, I felt like Mia's character was very sweet and genuine. And I don't know if this was an acting choice or if Ryan Gosling didn't care as much for his character, but he seemed like he was very sarcastic. I don't know if that was direction or his choice, or maybe the actor didn't want to do it. I don't know. But most of the things that he said, except when he was talking about jazz, it seemed like it had this little sarcastic twist to it. So it's not like I really liked him a lot. I mean, he's a charming guy, Ryan Gosling. You gotta love him.
Yeah.
You gotta love him.
But as far as the character was, I didn't necessarily like him that much until the end. So, yeah, we'll talk about that later.
We'll talk about the end. Yeah,
we'll talk about that later. So yeah, I forgot what your question was, but as far as the characters, I wasn't in love with either one of them throughout the whole movie.
Yeah, sure. I feel like it does ebb and flow a little bit. There's aspects of their characters, like it's funny because they are like self-absorbed, but that's also kind of like what attracts them to each other to an extent.
Yeah.
And
I don't think they're ever like narcissistically self-absorbed,
No.
which is kind of the key. Like they're not bad people and you don't hate them, but I think I like the word uncompromising. They're pretty uncompromising. And then Mia is to the point where she gives up because she got broke one too many times. And so that uncompromising, ambitious drive, it's like a make it or break it. There's no like, oh, I'll just halfway do this. She's like, if I can't do it all the way, I'm not going to do it at all.
Yeah. The city and the acting life wears her down.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
I think they were attracted to each other's passion for what they wanted to do. Mia says that about him. Like, people love it because you love it. And like, it's kind of, she's projecting why she loves him because he loves jazz this much. And he explained it in a way and he showed her why jazz is actually pretty cool. And I think she fell in love with that. And I think it's the same way with him, with her acting ability and that kind of stuff. So yeah, I think it was just the passion that they really liked in each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at least that's how it started.
Not at the end, but when she gets the big break and he is like confident. He's like, not if, when you get the role. And even, she's like, well, I never get the role. And he's like, no, when you get the role, blah, 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 blah. They say, I think I like how you said that, Kolb, because they say like, I'll always love you. Like they know this is kind of the end of the relationship. Maybe it'll come back, but I think they both know probably not. And they say, I'll always love you. And I was struck by that because I was like, I know what you mean, but I don't like, it's just not true. And I think like what you said, they loved the passion. They loved the idea of being in love with each other. But if they really did love each other, then they would have given up something, and they didn't.
There's a compromise there that I think it's not that like neither, like they're both like obsessed to the point where they like they're like choosing to let it. I don't know. It's like it may be hard to describe. They want the ambition. They want their art careers to take off, or they want to pursue this dream that they've had, but they found that it's not completely compatible, and that the best thing for both of them is to not be together.
Which is a form of a loving action. It is a loving action because that is a good point, Chris, because they want what's best. I guess the most loving thing that they do at the end is they want what's best for each other.
Yeah.
So
I mean, to the
Ryan
point where like
wants them to succeed, and Mia, wants him to succeed.
Yes, she does. But I would say that like Seb pushes Mia, like he's the one that pushes. He like is the one that lets her know like she got the audition in the first place, and he's really encouraging to her and drives all the way out to her house. And like,
he's just honking on the horn in the suburbs.
Yes. I love when that made me laugh this time when the guy comes out.
It's like throwing the book at him, and he's just like. And he doesn't lay off the horn.
It's very funny.
But even that is sweet because she's like, how did you even find me? And it's from her one woman play. And he's like, it's the house at the library.
House Across the Library.
And
yeah.
he was paying attention. Even though he missed her play, he knew, and he paid attention, and he knew
Yes.
the House Across the Library.
And that's such a key. Once again, we'll talk about the ending. It's such a key.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, to talk about a moment earlier in the film of like how he pays attention and how he like falls in love with her, like the whole Lovely Night, what a waste of a lovely night tap dance routine song, you know, is a whole back and forth song about how, you know, they are not falling for each other, and it's you know, too bad it's a lovely night and they're dressed really well and they're out on the town, and you know, she goes to her car, and the premise was that they were walking out to the car together, or you know, he was walking her to her car, and then he was, you know, going to keep going to his car, but it's revealed right after that she drives off in her Prius, and he walks actually back to where his car was, meaning he passed it, and he like wanted
it
to
was in front of the house.
Yes.
It was across the street from the house. Yeah, I mean, and that's just a classic like, oh, okay.
Yeah,
you like this
you
girl,
see what's
don't
really going
you?
on.
Yeah, you do. Now, okay, so one slightly different direction here. I want to talk about the musical elements, because I am not as well versed. I think I would actually appreciate older musicals quite a bit more. I really love older actors, and their versatility. My favorite example would be Dick Van Dyke. So singing, dancing, acting, you know, comedy, can do it all. And
weird movement with his legs. Yeah.
Very weird movement. Yeah. But so I'm missing. I think I have seen Grace Kelly actually. Forever ago, so I'm not going to try to reference it, but when you said that before we hopped on, that struck a chord. But honestly, a lot of these moments, specifically that song, Chris, I thought of Mary Poppins. I was thinking of Dick Van Dyke and like his the way he slides and tap dances, you know, and especially in the chalk scenes, and how, you know, Seb would slide. I was like, this feels like I'm watching an homage, not an imitation, but an homage to like a Dick Van Dyke performance. And I loved that. And it made me love this movie more, which is why I know if I watched older movies, this movie would be even better. But yeah, that was a fantastic element for me, is just seeing this, like, clearly I'm in love with, you know, for us to be the 80s, like I'm in love with the 80s, but he's in love with the nostalgia of the prime Twinkletown, like Kolb said, era.
Twinkletown. Did you mean Tinseltown?
Tinsel, yeah. But both are correct today. Tinseltown. Like I actually had to go look up, like, when is this movie set? And I was like, oh, it's modern day. There's an iPhone.
Yeah, there's iPhones, there's Toyota Priuses, like
right. But in my brain, it got confusing. I was like, I feel like this is supposed to be set before, but it's not. Just the way they dress and everything, it just is this hazy homage of like another era.
It's a fantasy. Like I made the joke at the beginning about Los Angeles land, but that title, you know, is like I think it's a clever title of La La Land, dreamy. Like it is a fantasy, a fantasized version of Hollywood. It's set in modern day, but you're right, it has all of this stuff that's from the past.
So I did look it up, and La La Land obviously is of the you know, someone's off in a whimsical world of their own, but it is an actual nickname for Los Angeles.
Yeah.
That too. And so it fits on so many levels. And I think that this sort of movie is very fun because it does a lot of weird, dreamy stuff, but not for the sake of being weird. It just is okay, like floating off into, you know, an observatory and just, you know, like, hey, we're having this, you know, like I said, Mary Poppins moment. We're going to pop off into another dream world. It's just going to happen. And then they float back down to the seats, and you know that all happened in their mind. They just danced on the floor, and this is where their minds went to. They just had this wonderful experience and turned what was a bummer of the movie not working out because the film broke to, hey, this was a beautiful, wonderful night for us. So yeah, I liked its referencing back such a heavy homage to old style film, and it made me want to watch those. I think is the key for me. It made me intrigued as to why the director loves that so much. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. He plays with suspension of disbelief in almost a way that like ignores it. Like it's
just gonna do it.
You're no doubt you're watching you're watching a real relationship that and it's with people, but there's so much fantastical elements going around with people singing, dancing, floating in the skies, all this crazy imagery.
So that's a good way of putting it, because have you seen Marriage Story?
That's not what I haven't. No.
Okay. Well, all I'll say is it's a very real depiction of a relationship,
right?
But it's lacking in all of this fantastical dreaminess. And I think I like how you put suspension of disbelief or suspension of belief, because you have that in other films. Great example is like Fast and Furious movies with like cars doing things that cars don't do, and you're like, wow, this is great. Like I'm suspending my belief.
Up, it's fun for the story, so
it's fun for the story, yes. But I'm not sitting there thinking a car can do that. But in this movie, instead of it being like taking you out of the moment and you having to sit with that and then go back in, or the just like, it's a movie about cars. It's much more of like, this is emotional storytelling. Like I'm telling you what their relationship is using visuals rather than just let's have a talk at the dinner table, which does happen. But I'm also going to show you the dreamy nature of falling in love and what that means and why people do what they do for love and what happens when they quit on love. And they do all, like you said, colors, dreamy sequences. Like he's using visuals to show love, which is a very interesting and I would say kind of a risky thing to do in some ways. It played off.
Yeah. I think as we have alluded to at the start, doing a musical can be a big risk, because if the musical sequences or the fantastical elements don't work, it's a hard punch to take, right? Mm-hmm. And the colors, the genre, it can be as bad. It can be something like Cats, like it can be something that just completely doesn't work.
Or not Cats, but what's the one about the zoo guy?
The Greatest Showman.
Yes. So I saw The Greatest Showman. I don't even remember. The circus. There you go. He has animals in it.
E.T. Barnum.
I saw The Greatest Showman in theaters, and my belief was not suspended, to put it as mildly as possible. Now, the funniest thing was my wife and her high school friend. We were in Columbia at the time, and we were visiting with her friend, and they wanted to go see a movie. They picked this movie. I know my wife doesn't like musicals, and I was like, well, okay. I knew it was a musical. They did not until we got into the movie, and we stayed for the whole thing, which I thought was hilarious. So that, again, great experience. Terrible movie, in my opinion.
I can't speak about that movie because I'll get in trouble with both my sisters-in-law.
Okay, we'll just leave that one off the table.
It's not a movie I enjoy either. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah. So this movie really pulled off the musical numbers in a way that flowed beautifully with the story.
Yes, for sure. Should we go towards the ending conversation? Because if you would we can go towards the ending conversation.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's the thing that I think Damien Chazelle maybe does the best out of anybody in Hollywood right now, is big swing endings that land. I won't spoil Whiplash, but Whiplash has a very, very shocking and striking ending as well. And the ending of La La Land, I think, is a big reason why it is either so beloved, or honestly, I've talked to a few people who are like, I I loved La La Land until the end, and then I hated it, or it completely wrecked me. It completely depressed me. So, what is your guys' take on the ending? Is it a sad ending? Did you like it? Did you like? What was your initial reaction? Did you sit with it? Did that change your reaction, or did it stay? We'll start with you, Kolb.
For me, the ending is what redeemed the whole movie. I don't know what those people are talking about.
Let's go.
But
There
that
you
doesn't
go.
mean it's a
He's
happy
in-
ending.
He's in the no. We didn't say that.
No.
But
No,
you're in the
and I'm
right camp of people.
Yes. Yeah. Like I said, I was very apathetic throughout the whole story until the fantasy sequence after he's playing the piano, and then I'm like, what is going on here? And then he hits the last note on the piano and his hand is trembling, and then I was like, oh, I get it.
Yeah. Oh, man.
And bittersweet is not strong enough. It is tragic the way this ends. And that's what made me feel something, which means I enjoyed the ending because I felt for him and for her. So, I mean, I could go into details of what I think it all meant, but right now I'll just say that's when I felt something, was when I could see the emotion on Sebastian's face as he hit that last note.
Yes. Yeah. It's so good and it's so well done. And because it's like you have the 5 years later flash forward, like, it's like it's fall again, but it's 5 years later. And we get this glimpse of just Mia at the start, right?
Mm-hmm.
You get just this glimpse into Mia's life. She is now the successful Hollywood actress that is, immediately recognized and gawked over when she goes into the coffee shop on the studio lot. And she's married and has a kid in a beautiful home. And her and her husband go out to dinner. They're stuck in LA traffic because, of course, it's LA and there's traffic all over. And they decide to forego their plans and go get dinner and then wander about the city. And they come across this bar that seems really cool. And they go inside and realize that it's Seb's bar and it's called Seb's, like calling back to a conversation that they had in the middle of their relationship. And she realizes it's his place and he's kind of achieved what he wanted. But then when they see each other and he starts to play the piano song that was kind of their song, and you get that whole fantasy sequence. Oh, it's so good. This sort of like acknowledgement of like the love that was lost and the love that they had and a love that could have been but ultimately couldn't be. And I think it's like what you said. Like, I think the reason why it evokes such a strong either positive or negative reaction is because it like force, like you're completely wrapped watching it, and then it just elicits some sort of response. And I think it's very just telling, like some people either don't like how strong it made them feel, or they, yearn for that fantasy that then was not the reality of the situation, and that hurts. I remember actually, Zach, did you watch the video that I sent you of the?
No,
it was like
I
a
didn't.
TikTok of a mother and daughter watching, like the daughter watching La La Land for the first time. It's one of my favorite TikToks of all time.
I'll find it and watch it after this.
Yeah, it's so funny where it's like the credits, like the music is playing in the background and the daughter is like out of her mind sobbing like uncontrollably. And the mom is like talking to, she was like, look, there's people that maybe they weren't your father, and you think about these lives you could have had with other people, and maybe you would have been happy, and maybe you would have had kids. Like, this is all going on while the daughter's sobbing uncontrollably. It's so funny, and is like there's a whole subgenre of TikToks that are like that, like people who call La La Land like one of the scariest horror films ever made because of how the end makes them feel. But yeah, I confess I have not seen First Man, which is the movie he made, Chazelle made after this, but I have seen Babylon. I'm a big fan of that one as well. Out of those three, I still think La La Land is my favorite ending, and they're all really crazy, strong endings. I think Babylon takes maybe the biggest swing out of them that didn't hit with everybody, but I was watching it again with my wife. My wife and I really, really like this movie. I remember we went to an Oscars party, actually at Nathan's house, the other Nathan.
Nice.
At the it would be the 2017 Oscars, and like we tried to dress up like Mia and Sebastian. Like I wore the white shirt and the tie and everything. She wore like I think she had a yellow dress. Yeah, like
nice.
And so we like love this movie, even though like makes you kind of feel bad at the end or whatever. But it's like you said, Kolb, it's not bittersweet. It's like tragic, like a tragic, but like an acknowledgement of, you know, what they had. But we were watching it again, and I was like, once again, I was just like completely wrapped up in it, and I was just like, oh man, like it's just so like cathartic watching it once you get to the end part there.
So my wife is one that did not like this movie because of the ending. And I mean, it's a pretty her reasoning is pretty classic. It's just like, I wanted them to end up together.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I mean, well, can't fault you there. Like, it's good storytelling. If you didn't like the twist, then, you know, you just wanted the logical thing to happen. But I really liked wrestling with this movie because of the question of what is love mean? Because even like, so in my opinion, you know, Seb is single, and he that we can see, and he didn't do chicken on a stick. He did Seb, you know, and he does a few things that, in my opinion, does say he not just stayed faithful to her and the love that he had for her, but clearly it stuck pretty strong for him. He changed the name of his dream.
Mm-hmm.
In
he
line
carried
with what
aspects of that relationship with him forward. Yeah.
Yep. And he did. He designed it a certain way. He didn't serve chicken that we could see. He served, you know, high class stuff. He put it as Seb's. It's not in the place.
It's not in that old jazz bar's location.
He gave up on the bar. That was the biggest thing for me of like, okay, you know, like, I mean, his sister also harps on that, but like, he did a lot of things that he clearly grew up. And what happened with her is a much more classic tale of like, you know, she went on with life. She went to Paris. She fell in love with somebody. She got married. And so when it goes through that dream sequence for her of the what if, all of that for me is like, that's just, it's all hypothetical. And it doesn't even matter at this point, because the linchpin is that love is the choices that we make towards people. And you said no. Like you said no. So all of that is a fantasy that in its darkest version is why people, you know, have affairs and they chase after these dreams they think will make them happy. And then their most positive version is like a forlornness of like, did I make the right choice? And leaning into trying to be content in what you have made. But it all centers on her, because for him, he seems to be doing all right. And like he did his dream. And we don't know if he's still hung up on her per se, but he is clearly successful. And he clearly like is enjoying what he does. And I would say, in my professional opinion, he is a little bit still hung up on her because of the song that he played to inspire those memories in her. From, you know, when she comes in, like he sees her, he makes that song choice very clearly, like speaking words to her without speaking. And so, yeah, like I think for him, he's the one that's like, I let her go and she's gone.
Yeah.
And
but it's
for
an
her, she's like,
acknowledgement.
oh yeah, go ahead.
it's like an acknowledgement of what they had, but an understanding, like a shared understanding between them that they had this dream, but it would not have worked out that way. And I think the hard part is seeing it's for me, it's when you see like the old home video looking footage of a kid they never had, and like them starting to grow older together, and like that's like the hard part. And she has that to an extent. She has a husband and a kid that she presumably loves them both. Like they both got success, and they both got what they wanted, and they both got love in some fashion. But it's just this understanding that they had to move on from what they once had, but they did.
But they could have had
parts of it with them forward.
They could have had it, because the reason that they didn't have it is because neither one of them compromised. And if you watch her dream sequence, he asks her, "Couldn't you practice on the road with me?" And she says, "No, I can't do that." Well, in the dream sequence, he plays jazz in France. He goes with her to the big movies. He gives up on his club to be with her.
But it's not the reality of the situation. Like, I feel like I feel like I want to fight back on you on that. Like, it's like, because it's every moment in the movie is replayed with like, what's the alternate thing I could have done, and here's how it would have played out. But that's not like how life works, like,
well, no, it's definitely not how life works, but I don't think it's everything that she could have done differently. Cause in that in that very first sequence, I'll have to watch it again, but I'm pretty sure the majority of the highlighted things is things that he did differently. So he kissed her in the bar, in the restaurant, where he walks out of his job. He gets fired. Yeah. He waves off John Legend. He goes with her on her movie things. Like her life plays out the same, but he says no to all of the things that would have happened to him. So that's where I'm like, in her brain, she sees this life that could have happened, but it's still her life. It's not she's not compromising. It's just, I could have had it with him. Sure. But he's doing this now, and I do what I do, and I have my family. Because that's all she has is her perspective. Like, even the way they leave the house, they end up in Seb's, but it's not Seb's. It's some other jazz club.
Right.
And she's the actress, and he's the husband.
Yeah.
So anyway, I still love the ending, and I think I just have a specific.
But that's the great thing, is that you can have these different, like, interpretations of like what it means. Whose dreams is it? Who's, like, is it her coming up with everything, or is it him? Like, it's, and I don't know. In my opinion, it's like a shared thing. Like they are having. It's this song that's really for just the two of them.
Yep. Well, that's 100% accurate.
Yeah.
He plays it, and it's clearly just for them to experience.
Yeah.
Well, it's fantastic.
Yes.
What a good movie. It's Kolb's favorite movie.
Yeah, it's great. No, you guys make some great points. I like to simplify things as best I can when I'm watching something, so I can understand it and not be frustrated. For me, this is my interpretation. The ending is so powerful for me because it's proving that their relationship was more important than their dreams were. So they both got their dreams. She's an actress. He's got his club. They see each other and they realize what they could have had. And that's what that whole dream sequence was. And you'll notice that they replay the whole thing, even the two of them walking into the club, and Sebastian does not look sad at all that they're in a nightclub. His dream, he looks to her and he sees, this is my life. You are my life. And I gives her a kiss. And like, it's a regret that he has this place instead of her. That's what I see. And I think she's the same way. I could have had him instead of the life I have now. So that's where I see it. And that's why it's so tragic.
It is a tragedy. Like, in the
you can't have it all.
Traditional sense
right,
of the
you
word.
can't have it all. That's a reality.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Well, it's good. Fantastic pick, Chris.
It was
great way to end 2025 for us.
Yeah, I'm glad that you liked it, Kolb. I'd like to circle all the way back to what we said at like the probably like 5-minute mark of this hour-long podcast. But you were like, "Why did Chris make me pick this movie?" Partially because mostly all the other students had already seen it, but also partially because I knew
necessity.
Process of elimination.
I knew that this was something that you would at the very least have some sort of insight like that, like a practical, insightful take on what's going on in here, and I was also just curious as to whether you would enjoy it or not, and also it's fun to get a fresh reaction to the ending of this film. So yeah.
This is a good one to have someone watch and talk about for the first time, for sure.
Yeah, there is something I wish I had more of. You kind of brought it up when you were talking about the writer guy, Chris, about a little bit more cynicism in the movie. There were some little snippets of it, like the idea of a 50s musical versus what the reality is. That's the cynical part. I'll give you 3 examples of where they did it subtly, and I was like, oh, that's fun. I wish they had more of this. One was Sebastian says, I was kind of like, knight in shining armor, right? And she's like, no, you're more like a weirdo. Like, that's exactly right. That's how it would be in the old movies. Like, oh, he's so chivalrous, but in today's world, yeah, he's kind of weird. Another moment is the 4 girls are dancing in their opening scene. They're going out on the nightclub. They're all dancing in their high heels and their dresses, and it's like, classic musical. But then they all run to the car, and since they're wearing high heels, they like do that weird girl shuffle when they have high heels on. Like, that's how they should be moving. They're not dancing in high heels. That's not how girls are. This is how they should be running. So it's really fun duality there. And then the last one is Sebastian's all romantic. He's walking on the pier, and he starts dancing with this lady. And then her husband like hits him on the arm and saying, like, what are you doing? This is my wife you're dancing with.
Yeah. He gives his hat back, and then he's like,
right.
Step away from my wife.
That's a classic thing too. Like, the main character's all happy. He'll just dance with whoever's out there. And everybody's like, oh, that's nice. But in the reality, like, yeah, dude, why are you dancing with my wife? Get out of here.
Yeah.
That stuff is hilarious. And I wish there was more of that, because they really did push that whole, this is a musical. This is classic Hollywood, but it's in modern times, and you got to add that reality to it. So I wish there was more of that, but overall.
Yeah. Well, if I got a movie for you, if you ever watched Babylon, it's a very cynical movie. It's also a lot darker. It's a lot more violent and crazy. It is much more along the lines of like a Pulp Fiction or Boogie Nights, but through the era of silent, the transition from silent film to talkies like Hollywood.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's got Brad Pitt in it.
Yeah, Brad Pitt, Margot Robbie. Yeah. Good stuff. So anyways,
well, Chris, we have our traditions.
Yeah, our traditions. So Oscars Corner, this is a crazy Oscars Corner because of what happened with it. So it won 6 Academy Awards. So it was nominated for like 12 or 13 or something insane. But it won production design. It had 2 songs nominated for Best Original Song, but the City of Stars is the one that won. Not my favorite song from the movie, but
no. Which one was
the other one? That's a good question. I think that my favorite, it's either got to be Another Day of Sun or the What a Lovely Night. But then also, like, it doesn't really have words, but just that motif that he plays throughout the movie after when he gets fired from the job, and at the ending, like, that piece of music gets stuck in my head all the time. If I think about the movie, I start going da 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 da. So yeah, did you have a favorite music or song or number?
Not so much any songs with lyrics, but I did enjoy all the instrumental songs.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, that overture that he plays, and then whenever they have dance numbers like just him and her, where it's more ballroom or the romantic scenes, I liked all that stuff.
Yeah.
Or the jazz stuff. That stuff was good. I didn't really care for the dance numbers with the lyrics
with the words. Yeah, for sure. That's totally fair, and it's a totally enjoyable movie, even if you are, like, as you said, like, if you're not a huge musical fan. Like, there's so much of the other elements. Like, I mean, at a certain point it stops being a musical, like halfway through. It's kind of like when the relationship is dying. Like, I feel like there's less of the music aspect. But anyways, okay, so what do we cover? Production design, original song, score, like just the music part of it. And Justin Hurwitz is a guy, the composer, who has worked with Chazelle on, I believe, all of his films so far, and is working on his 5th one right now. Cinematography, Emma Stone wins Best Actress. Damien Chazelle wins Best Director. Gosling was nominated for Best Actor, by the way, but he did not win it. I'd have to go look at who won it that year. But Chazelle wins Best Director, and at the time, and I believe it may still be the case, he was the youngest person ever to win Best Director. And then Best Picture, it was originally announced that La La Land had won Best Picture, but it had actually not. This is the year that Warren Beatty and I'm trying to remember the actress that was with him on the stage. They were going to present Best Picture. They opened the envelope. There's a look of confusion, and they announce that La La Land is won Best Picture. All of the producers and actors start to go up on the stage, but like something is going on in the background, and like of the production of the Oscars, like there's people kind of stirring. The La La Land producers start to accept the award, but then like they're interrupted, I think, by one of the other producers of the movie, and he said, "There's actually been a mistake. The wrong envelope was given, like, to Warren Beatty.
I do remember that.
Moonlight has won Best Picture," and like that had been the conversation throughout. Like a lot of like the talk of the town was like, what's going to win, La La Land or Moonlight? Like those were the two that were like really in contention, and had big proponents of both. And when La La Land was winning Best Picture, I think there would have been a narrative that it's just the Oscars up to their old ways. You know, they're still obsessed with Hollywood and navel gazing and that kind of thing. Whereas Moonlight was seen as the much more progressive and modern film. It's a very like complex story about like a gay relationship and everything. And so that movie winning was viewed as much more of a like, the Academy is changing, and like starts the wave of like where we're at now, where stuff like Parasite and Everything Everywhere All at Once win Best Picture. So
Casey Affleck won for his performance in Manchester by
the Sea. Whew. If we ever decide to do like a most depressing movie category, Manchester by the Sea is on the short list. I love that movie, but it's a tough watch at times. Yeah. So that's my Oscars corner, my awards corner. It was a very decorated film. I mean, it's still like the law, or that, you know, having Moonlight announced, or having La La Land announced as the winner and then having it taken away from them within the course of like 90 seconds is going to like always loom large over it. And I feel like make it viewed as more of a failure, but it still won 6 Academy Awards, including like director and actress, and cool ones like cinematography and score. Like, so it still, you know, was successful critically as well as culturally. I believe it did do good numbers at the box office. It's not like it's the Avengers, but you know, it made money for the studio for sure. So
I probably put it in my fantasy movie league when I was playing.
For sure.
Callback.
Okay.
Streaming algorithm.
Okay. The 2 movies that I think, if you're going to go back and watch movies that inspired La La Land like the most, French musical from the 60s called The Umbrellas of Cherbourg is probably the primary inspiration. It's entirely sung through, like it's not like it's like a
musical.
not like somewhere between a musical and an opera kind of, but like it has the vibrant color. Like you'll see like how much like the colors like were an inspiration, and then it's also a bittersweet romance that is like plays out the reality of a situation instead of having it just be a happily ever after story. And then Singing in the Rain, which also plays a big part in Babylon as well. It's a Hollywood musical. It's plays homage to it a lot, especially like in the ending sequences. There's shots that look like exactly like they're from Singing in the Rain. You've got also a lot of the tap dancing and stuff like that. So I think you really could also watch Whiplash. I think if you like La La Land, you will also like Whiplash. I highly recommend that film as well. Once again, another like, what does it take to pursue artistic perfection? Like, how far are you going to go? Are you going to break yourself down? That kind of thing. And then if you want more, I guess, like realistic or bittersweet romance, 500 Days of Summer. That's another movie that people like have like
I thought of that.
Might have like an allergic reaction to. It's another movie that also like takes place over like the season. It goes through the seasons of a year, but it's deconstructing the relationship, and it's romantic, but they know they're not supposed to be together forever and everything. One that I almost did for like the bleeding edge category instead of the holdovers was Past Lives by Celine Song. I think that is a fantastic romance movie that also has like a tough ending and is like about lost love and things that could have been. And I don't want to say that the endings are like similar, but like the conclusions that they reach might be. Very, very good film though.
Cool.
Yeah. And then maybe Lost in Translation, if you're talking about like a fantasy version of another city, like a romance that's set like entirely in one like fantastical city. Just because of the way Tokyo is portrayed in that film. Like they go to some pretty real but fantastical places around Tokyo, and is very. I like Lost in Translation quite a bit too.
Nice.
Yeah,
I love that. Well, folks, you've made it all the way through a year of the Fun Bunker Film School. Hats off to you. Hats off. Kolb, you are our last student of the year. You get a passing grade.
I'm honored.
But we will be back next year. Me and Chris and other students will be joining us. I believe we are kicking off with... Do you want to say it? You want me to say it?
I'll say it. Vertigo, Alfred Hitchcock.
Ooh, we're going old school yet again. I think we started with 12 Angry Men, so we're going to go back to some old film. And we are going to... Right? That was our first film, 12 Angry Men?
Yeah, 12 Angry Men was our first film.
Yep.
I was on that one.
Yeah, you were.
Yes.
So we're gonna do Vertigo with Alfred Hitchcock, new to me.
Cold
so I'm
sandwich.
excited. I am excited to watch that. And yeah, tune in next year. Happy New Year to all you people listening and watching. You can't be watching, but I'm watching them. These two ridiculous
Keep watching
fellas.
movies.
Keep watching movies. Go to the movies, and then come back and listen to us on the Fun Bunker Film School.
Doo-doo. Do 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 do